Hi, it's Jessica Corson with the New Moon Astrology, and today we're going to talk about the full moon in Gemini. The new moon happened earlier this summer in June, and that was when we kind of sent out these seeds of thoughts and manifestations to kind of put it out into the world for the energies to kind of align things. And then now is the culmination of that. So it's the release of whatever you are wanting in June. Now you're kind of asking to release the things that you don't need that are going to get in, that are in the way of you being able to focus on that with that energy in your life. Gemini is an energy that and I'm not really necessarily speaking about personality traits. So when you think of a Gemini, I'm thinking more just the pure energy of Gemini and what it presents in our lives and how it affects us all in our charts. Wherever Gemini is in your chart, this is an area of curiosity. This is an area that you will, not really stay in one place very long. You're kind of Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the messenger. And so Geminis are meant to deliver messages, or the Gemini energy is meant to deliver messages. So the reason why a Gemini energy is so curious is because it wants to go out and pick up a bunch of information so that it can deliver a message about something. So with the sun being in Sagittarius, there's light being shown on, we're thinking about our philosophy and what we believe in and the Christmas time, all that kind of stuff that represents December. Kind of the dying of the old and starting the new with the new year coming up. So this is our last full moon of this year until we move forward with next year. Mercury is going into shadow and is going to be retrograde in the next couple of days. We have the winter solstice coming up next week. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now up in the sky. And this is a really good time. So within Gemini, Gemini is known for being the twins. So that's two different energies, polar opposites, yin and yang, up and down, left and right. It's those extreme opposites. And so within that energy, there's always choices, within humanity, and we have been given the power of choice. And so what this full moon and the aspects that are surrounding it are asking us to contemplate is this idea of energy. And, this has been what this whole year has been about, in the past couple years as well, is figuring out how to do things differently if you're not happy. When you hang out around in certain situations, no matter whether or not it's family, business, career, yourself, all the different aspects of what goes on in your life, if it doesn't make you feel good, then stop doing it. If you don't, and then to think critically about the situation and to trust that if you turn this way, that there's still going to be support, there's still going to be a path, there's still going to be your direction. It just isn't this experience that you're going to have it with. And so that's where I invite you this week, because this full moon is, thinking about where you've been curious, what you've learned along the way. Saturn is aspecting this full moon, and so there may be some obstacles that come up that, and the sun is also opposing this. So Saturn and the sun are really wanting you to think about things. There's going to be obstacles that come up, and these are going to be ways for you to kind of focus down and think about how you're going to choose to move forward with that. Are you going to choose to spend time with this group of friends or this group of friends or this person or that person? Or are you going to do this or that? What brings you joy? What doesn't? So those are the thoughts that are going to be circulating around our mind. And there's going to be situations that come up within our path that Saturn is going to place there where you're going to have to really focus down on, do I want to deal with this or not? And so this is the time to really, either focus on your way of thinking about things. So when you approach a situation and you're like, this doesn't make me feel very good, then really think about it. It's like, okay, is this situation is it outside of my control? Am I thinking about it in a way that if I changed my way of thinking that I would be happy in that situation? Or do I need to choose this way? So what is going to give you that ultimate joy? What is ultimately going to fulfill you? Saturn, with a lot of the stuff that's in Aquarius, we're looking at the big picture. So, within the grand scheme of things, how, and looking down the road, when you see yourself at this time next year, what are the choices that you want to make going forward that are going to change your path to either happiness or staying the same? Or, so what does that look like, and how are you thinking about it? And if you changed your way of thinking, what would the path look like? And how would that affect you and the people that are surrounding you? Uranus is aspecting this, so there might be some sudden information that comes in out of the blue. Uranus is going to be really active going into 2018, and so there's going to be sudden things that just happen, and that are going to remove some barriers from your way, enhance, different ways of thinking, stuff like that. And Jupiter is also positively aspecting this, and so this is going to be this feeling for wanting to kind of expand, wanting some justice, wanting happiness, wanting to, approach things differently. And, those, with all of these different things, energies coming in and sharing what they have, we are going to really feel like we would like to make some different choices for within ourselves. And that can branch out. I mean, it's such layers. So you might be thinking about you and what makes you happy. And then your perception goes to what's underneath your roof. And, what are the different choices that you could make that everything underneath your roof is going to be a little bit more positive. And then branch out within the larger family aspect. What is the best possible choice that you could make that, would be better for everybody involved? And so that kind of like keeps going out and out and out, and that could be within family, work, all the things. So I just invite you to really think about your choices, your way of thinking about things, and really focus down on what makes you happy. It's within my, within this energy and, following the astrology for the past year, hanging around situations, whether it's right or wrong on either aspect, if it brings you down and if it's not allowing you to grow and feel good about yourself and to feel good about life, you really need to start, I think, I'm not telling you what to do, but I really think that, going forward, and this is what I'm going to start doing, is really thinking about, is this allowing me to be the best person that I can be? Always being in a bad situation where you always feel horrible over and over and over again, let's say at work, you go to work and you feel horrible and you're pissed off and, all this stuff, and then you come home and, you're in a bad mood, like all day long. Most of your day, you were in this environment that sucked. And then, then you come home and it's like, it's hard to shake it. It just is. And so, when you have an interaction with somebody all the time and it's always the same thing, the same way, nothing's changing, and it doesn't make you feel good, it's this idea, well, stop doing it. And what the Gemini full moon is asking us to do is to just double check within yourself. If you chose to think differently about this, Jupiter is in Libra, so it's the partnership. So that's why I keep going with, the groups. And, Venus and Mars are in Aquarius, and Aquarius wants you to think about the larger picture, within groups and stuff like that. And then, Saturn is in Sagittarius, asking us to really think about what we really believe and what we really want. Neptune is asking us in Pisces, like, what do we really, what is the dream of what you want to achieve? And, within different situations, it's what do you see and how do you want to experience things? So, and then being willing to fight for what you believe for, and whether that's just shifting your energy and placing yourself in a situation that feels a lot more natural, where you align, because Aquarius is asking us to find people who think like you so that you can be in an environment that is positive and that's going to have positive, in the long term of things, it's going to be a more positive thought process or positive experience. And so, because if you keep aligning with the same people that don't think the way that you do, and not that you shouldn't be around people that don't think like you do, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm asking, where do you spend the majority of your time? Because if it doesn't hold down to the true you, the who you are, what you see, what you feel, what you want to experience, you're going to start resisting it. And then that's going to come out in different kinds of behaviors, different kinds of things. That's where, where we overeat, over abuse alcohol, over abuse food, anything. Technology, being in, wanting to escape into playing our video games all the time, wanting to escape, doing drugs all the time. All of those things where we overindulge, it's the idea of, well, are you in an experience that's creating depression for you and you're not really seeing it? Because when you're in a depressed state, like, things are numbed, you don't really feel things the way that you are supposed to. And that's where, if you're not feeling very well and stuff like that, that's where getting in an exercise routine, practicing meditation, introducing some medication that will help you to manage things differently so that you can create new pathways in your brain. Because our brain is a functional, evolving part of our body, and it sends these little pathways. It's from one thing to the next, one neuron to the next. And when there's depression or something like that, and that area gets numbed in your brain, it's not traveling right. But what's amazing about our brain is that we can create new pathways through new experiences. And so that's where, meditation and exercise, setting those big bursts of like energy, let's say excitement, that, and it like shocks the system to create a new pathway of joy. And so if you're going to the same place, it's just going to keep numbing you and numbing you and numbing you. And that's where you're like, even in analogy, when you talk to somebody who's depressed, they're like, I just feel numb. Well, that's because all those receptors that are going on up there are getting numbed. You need to put yourself in an environment where you're going to experience joy, and I just invite you to not try and force somebody else's joy to be your joy. Taking that Aquarius point of view and looking at the grand scheme of things and thinking, okay, if this person is in my life, like, can I change my way of thinking and, try and embrace, experiencing joy this way? But within that, I'm going to hold true to myself, and this isn't something that I like to do all the time, so I'm only going to do this once in a while. Or, is this something that that's gonna fulfill me? Happy people are productive. Happy people feel encouraged. Happy people feel, joyous, and joy leads to optimism and courage and a healthy sense of ego. And so thinking about all of those things, these choices, this duality that Gemini offers us, this higher way of thinking, tune into that. Do some creative thinking. Do some cognitive thinking. Be curious about different experiences that can bring you joy. And that's just my feelings on the aspects as I kind of look at them. It's my interpretation. Uranus is in there, and there's going to be these unexpected information that kind of comes in, unexpected events, unexpected things. It is in a positive aspect, so it, will be, good. But, it's your perception on how you look at things. So that would be my question is, if I would things feel differently? Because I want you to think about feeling, not your logical mind. Yes, creative thinking or cognitive thinking skills and thinking about things logically, but think about things logically, like take that logical thinking and channel it to that heart center, because that's really what's going to drive you at the end of the day. Is if your heart is happy and fulfilled and that filters down into your solar plexus, which is going to give you that personal power and stuff like that when we feel loved and nurtured and supported. And that's the other idea, is where do you feel supported? Do you feel supported by your job? Do you feel supported by your family? Do you feel supported by your husband or your siblings or your parents? Or, where direct that energy into aspects of your life of those who support you and where it feels natural for you to support. If you're over supporting this aspect and you're not getting, you don't feel any support back at you, maybe it's time to shift your energy over here and invest where the energy that you have is being reciprocated back to you. So it's that idea of, it isn't like I have to give and receive, I have to receive. But in that aspect, if the same situation is leaving you empty, you're not going to have any left inside of you. So, you need to shift your energy towards the areas of your life. So if this job isn't fulfilling you, you need to shift your energy over here and maybe look towards something else that's going to fulfill you. If these interactions with these people are not fulfilling you and are leaving you feeling empty, look to the areas of your life where you feel fulfilled. That's going to make you happy. That's going to bring you joy. That's going to make you feel empowered. It's going to allow you to be the best you that you can be. And sometimes it's hard to let go. Sometimes it's hard. We have this idea about something and, we want the idea of it, but we're not getting the emotional connection. So there's a lack, there's a void. So, that's what I invite you to do, is just to shift your ideas within different areas of your life where you're feeling a void. And what can you let go of, whether it be your higher way of thinking, but come from the heart center is what I'm asking you for you to contemplate on. So I'm going to go into the signs next. I'm going to put that in another video so that they can upload a little bit faster. So I invite you to kind of shift over to the new video with all the signs, and have a great full moon. And I hope that you take this Gemini full moon in a positive light and you invite in some positive experiences and go out and have some fun, because really at the end of the day, it's about having fun and feeling fulfilled. That's what I view this purpose is on life, because you can have all the money in the world and still be still feel unfulfilled because your heart center is not, you're not coming and you're not living according to your heart. So just be aware of that. So all right, so I will talk to you next time.